Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Nara Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to the class. After a very long time, we are meeting again. That was like the last we met on Friday, and today is Tuesday, so 3 days gap we had. So we were on the 17th shloka we had completed, and we were on to the 18th. But before that, I'll just give a quick recap of what is being discussed in the 9th chapter. So the Lord, showed this Vaikuntha to Brahma, because Brahma is actually having darshan of Vaikuntha. So the Lord is showing what is the, and then how are the inhabitants of the Vaikuntha planets, what is the site of the Vaikuntha planets, like what is the role of Mother Lakshmi, and what is the beauty of the Supreme Lord. And the Lord is whose devotees? He is Lakshmi Pati. He's being served by all the four Kumaras. He's served by Sunanda, Nanda, Prabala, Arhana, all these people. And the beauty of the Lord is being described. And in the last shloka, we saw that the Lord was sitting on a throne, and his throne is surrounded by energies like the four principles: the Prakriti, Purusha, Mahatattva, and ego. The 16, what do you say? The 16 elements, that are the five elements that are there, the 10 sense organs and the mind are there. And then the five elements, and then the six natural opulences, and many other insignificant Ashtasiddhis also. The Lord is surrounded by so many energies. And now in the 18th shloka, we'll see that how Lord Brahma is overwhelmed with joy. He's in great ecstasy, and because he's in great ecstasy or bhav, then the symptom of bhav is that a person has incessant tears flowing down his eyes, and he bows down before the Supreme Lord. So let's straight jump to the 18th shloka. I'll just share the screen with y'all. This was the 17th we completed. So this is a very nice shloka because when Brahma is actually having such a beautiful darshan of the Supreme Lord, then he was just joyful seeing the Supreme Lord, and his hairs stood up, his eyes, were filled with tears of love, and out of natural affection or love for the Supreme Lord, he immediately bows down. So he says that Tad Darshana Halada Pariluptantaro Rishyat Tanu Prema Bharashrulochana Nama Padambuja Asya Vishwasriga Yat Paramhamsena Pathadi Gamyate. 1 minute, just give me. So he's saying that Rishyat Tanu. Rishyat Tanu means his hair stood up. And he's saying that Prema Bharashru Lochana. Lochana means eyes. Okay, so Bhara Achru. Aankhein bhar bhar ke rone lage. Eyes filled with tears. And then Yat Paramhamsena. So what is that lotus feet? So those lotus feet are attained by Paramhamsena Pathadi Gamyate. So those lotus feet which are attained by the Paramhamsas. So, and what is attained by the Paramhamsas? It is bhakti that is attained by the Paramhamsa. So let's see the translation. Prabhupada has. So, Lakshmi Narayan Prabhu, today Sushil Prabhu isn't feeling well, it seems. He's on hearing mode. So please do the honors of reading the translation and purport.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Translation. Lord Brahma, thus seeing the personality of Godhead in his fullness, was overwhelmed with joy within his heart. And thus, in full transcendental love and ecstasy, his eyes filled with tears of love. He thus bowed down before the Lord. That is the way of the highest perfection for the living being, Paramahamsa. Purport. In the beginning of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it is stated that this great literature is meant for the Paramahamsas. Paramo Nirma Sharanam.
Satam.
That is, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is meant for persons completely free from malice. In the conditioned life of malicious life begins from the top, namely bearing malice against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Personality of Godhead is an established fact in all the revealed scriptures and in the Bhagavad-gītā. The personal feature of the Supreme Lord is especially mentioned, so much so that the last portion of the great literature has emphatically stressed that one should surrender unto the Personality of Godhead to be saved from the miseries of life. Unfortunately, persons with impious backgrounds do not believe in the Personality of Godhead, and everyone wants to become God himself without any qualification. This malicious nature in the conditioned soul continues even up to the stage when a person wants to be one with the Lord. And thus, even the greatest of the empiric philosophers speculating on becoming one with the Supreme Lord cannot become a Paramahamsa because the malicious mind is there. Therefore, the Paramahamsa stage of life can be attained only by those who are fixed in the practice of Bhakti Yoga. This Bhakti Yoga begins if a person has the firm conviction that simply discharging devotional service to the Lord in full transcendental love can elevate him to the highest perfectional stage of life. Brahmaji believed in this art of Bhakti Yoga. He believed in the instruction of the Lord to execute tapa, and he discharged the function with great penance and thus achieved the great success of seeing the Vaikuntha Lokas and the Lord also by personal experience. No one can reach the abode of the Supreme Lord by any mechanical means of the mind or machine. But one can reach the abode of the Vaikuntha Lokas simply by following the process of Bhakti Yoga, because the Lord can be realized only through the Bhakti Yoga process. Lord Brahmaji was actually sitting on his lotus seat, and from there, by executing the process of Bhakti Yoga in great seriousness, you could see the Vaikuntha Lokas with all variegatedness, as well as the Lord in person and his associates. Following in the footsteps of Lord Brahma, any person, even up to this day, can attain the same perfection by following the path of the Parahamsa as recommended herein. Lord Chaitanya also approved of this method of self-realization for men in this age. One should first, with all conviction, believe in the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, and without making efforts to realize him by speculative philosophy, one should prefer to hear about him from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavad-gītā and later from the text of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. One should hear such discourses from a person, Bhagavatam, and not from the professional man or from the karmi, jnani, or yogi. That is the secret of learning science. One does not need to be in the renounced order of life. He can remain in his present condition of life, but he must search out the association of a bona fide devotee of the Lord, and hear from him the transcendental message of the Lord with faith and conviction. That is the path of the Paramahamsa recommended herein. Amongst various holy names of the Lord, he is also called Ajita, or one who can never be conquered by anyone else. Yet he can be conquered by the Paramahamsa path as practically realized and shown by the great spiritual master Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma has personally recommended this Paramahamsa Pantha in his own words as follows. Lord Brahma said, O my Lord Krishna, a devotee who abandons the path of empiric philosophical speculation aimed at merging in the existence of the Supreme and engages himself in hearing your glories and activities from a bona fide sadhu or saint, and who lives an honest life in the occupational engagement of his social life, can conquer your sympathy and mercy even though you are Ajita or unconquerable. That is the path of the Paramahamsas, which was personally followed by Lord Brahma and later recommended by him for attaining perfect success in life.
Yeah, so this path is actually the path of bhakti attained by the Paramhamsas. So now, from this 19th shloka onwards, there is another section starting. So from 19th shloka, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20, 24, 25, till 25 shlokas, the 7 shlokas will say that because the Lord is pleased with Brahma, then the Lord is asking Brahma for a benediction. So the Lord is inviting Brahma, okay, please ask me a benediction. What do you want from me? So will Brahma really ask a benediction, or what will he do? Let's dive into these shlokas and see that what should a devotee do when the Lord asks a benediction to that particular devotee. So he says then, Tam priyamana sorry, it's just a little tongue. Samupastitham kavim praja visarge nij shasanarhanam babhasha isat smita sochisa gira priya priya pritamana kare sprishan. Today, Nakul Prabhu is also joined in. That's nice. Vrinda beta, please read.
Translation. And seeing Brahma present before him, the Lord accepted him as worthy to create living beings, to be the control as he desired, and thus, being very much satisfied with him, the Lord shook hands with Brahma and slightly smiled, addressed him thus. Purport. The creation of the material world is not blind or accidental. The living entities, who are ever conditioned or nitya badha, are thus given a chance for liberation under the guidance of his own representative like Brahma. The Lord instructs Brahma in the Vedic knowledge in order to diffuse this knowledge to the conditioned souls. The conditioned souls are forgetful souls in their relationship with the Lord, and thus a period of creation and the process of dissemination of Vedic knowledge are necessary activities of the Lord. Lord Brahma has a great responsibility in delivering the conditioned souls, and therefore he is very dear to the Lord. Brahma also does his duty very perfectly, not only by generating the living entities, but also by spreading his party for reclaiming the fallen souls. The party is called the Brahma Sampradaya, and any member of this party to date is naturally engaged in reclaiming the fallen souls back to Godhead, back home. The Lord is very much anxious to get back his parts and parcels, as stated in the Bhagavad-gītā. No one is more dear than the one who takes the task of reclaiming the fallen souls back to Godhead. There are Many renegades from the Brahma Sampradaya, whose only business is to make men more forgetful of the Lord and thus entangle them more and more in the material existence. Such persons are never dear to the Lord, and the Lord sends them deeper into the darkest region of matter so that such envious demons may not be able to know the Supreme Lord. Anyone, however, preaching the mission of the Lord in the line of the Brahma Sampradaya is always dear to the Lord, and the Lord, being satisfied with such a preacher of the authorized bhakti cult, shakes hands with him in great satisfaction. Hare Krishna.
So, what is his meaning? He says, shakes hands with him in great satisfaction. He is more favorable to such a devotee. Basically, the inner meaning of this is that. So, then the next he says that because the Lord is accepting Lord Brahma as a very worthy of following his commands. See, so for example, if I follow the orders of my superiors or my mother, my father, my in-laws, my husband, okay. So then what immediately I will please these people who are my superiors also and who are more experienced than me also. Then what is the Lord doing? The Lord is he's saying the Lord is expressing his feelings also, that yes, I'm very satisfied with your austerities and whatever creation you have done. I'm satisfied with you, but I'm not satisfied with those who are just pseudo mystics. So now the Lord starts speaking, says that Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Tvaya Hatoshita Samyag Veda Garbha Sishrikshayah Chiram Bhritena Tapasa Dushto Saha Kuta Yoginam. Yeah, Priyanka, please read this translation and purport, both.
Yes, Master. Hare Krishna.
So before
The
Priyanka
beautiful,
I would just like to thank Priyanka for conducting yesterday's class. I am very sorry that I was not able to conduct yesterday's class. Yesterday in the temple, I had 50 IT guests from one of my counselees. So she had bought these 50 IT, people, and we were addressing them with the basics of bhakti, and then there was prasadam and there was harinam and all going on. So that whole things started from 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock. I was in the temple itself. So I was not able to take yesterday's class. But yeah, thank you so much, Priyanka, for always being a lifesaver for me. Yeah, please read.
no problem, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Translation. The beautiful personality of Godhead addressed Lord Brahma. O Brahma, impregnated with the Vedas, and very much pleased with your long accumulated penance with the desire for creation. Hardly am I pleased with the pseudo-mystics. Purport. There are two kinds of penance, one for sense gratification and the other for self-realization. There are many pseudo-mystics who undergo severe penances for their own satisfaction, and there are others who undergo severe penances for the satisfaction of the senses of the Lord. For example, the penances undertaken to discover nuclear weapons will never satisfy the Lord because such a penance is never satisfactory. By nature's own law, by nature's own way, everyone has to meet death, and if such a process of death is accelerated by anyone's penances, there is no satisfaction for the Lord. The Lord wants every one of his parts and parcels to attain eternal life and bliss by coming home to Godhead, and the whole material creation is meant for that objective. Brahma underwent severe penances for that purpose, namely to regulate the process of creation so that the Lord might be satisfied. Therefore, the Lord was very much pleased with him, and for this Brahma was impregnated with Vedic knowledge. The ultimate purpose of Vedic knowledge is to know the Lord and not to misuse the knowledge of any other purposes. Those who do not utilize Vedic knowledge for that purpose are known as Kuta yogis or pseudo transcendentalists who spoil their lives with ulterior motives. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. So see, even if you see in the Bhagavad-gītā also, that there is the austerity of the body, speech, and austerity of the mind also. And what is that austerity that is pleasing? So all these, three austerities that are performed with faith by people who are not expecting any material benefits, but those who are engaged in the loving devotional service of the Supreme Lord, then that austerity is called austerity in the mode of goodness. But if and of course, when you have when like even the other austerities that are there, like the austerity of the body is by worshipping the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master, the superiors like father, mother, like celibacy, cleanliness, non-violence, and simplicity. So these are austerities of the body. Then there is austerity of the speech also, speaking pleasing words, not to agitate somebody, not to instigate somebody, or being truthful also. And then you have the austerity of the mind also, that you're completely self-controlled. You purify your existence also by chanting, and you have satisfaction. You are, you're a very simple person. So that's the austerity of the mind. So when all these austerities are performed with great faith for the satisfaction of Supreme Lord, then Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 17th chapter, he says that it's called austerity in the mode of goodness. But now, if somebody is performing austerity out of pride for gaining name, fame, that austerity is actually in the mode of passion. And then sometime, like, so for example, Hiranyakashipu's penance was in the mode of passion. And because he wanted respect, honor, everybody should, bow down to him. So that is why he performed that tapasya. And sometimes, people just torture themselves, they injure themselves, and they perform such austerities. They walk on some hot coal, they walk on some hot sand and all. So that's austerity in the mode of ignorance. So now we have to understand what was Brahma's austerity. Just contemplate on that, and we should understand that Brahma's austerity was not for name, fame, or and it was not whimsical austerity. He had done austerity after the Supreme Lord had dictated him that you do tapa, tapa, tapa. So when the Supreme Lord gives you some instruction, then the Supreme Lord gives you even the power to follow the instruction. Like when we say that when the spiritual master gives us some instruction, he gives us the empowerment also to follow that particular instruction. So the Supreme Lord, when he is giving such instructions, then he's giving empowerment also. But now when we are performing such austerities, like for us, what is austerity? Waking up early in the morning, chanting our rounds, and following the four regulative principles, and accepting what is favorable and rejecting what is unfavorable. All these are austerities for us. So now we need to distinguish. So what is type of austerity do I want to do? Do I want to? And in today's world, the greatest austerity will be the austerity of actually giving up sense gratification. And that will be really called something called renunciation. When you actually give up sense gratification, you try to please the senses of the Lord, then that is called real austerity. Otherwise, that is not called austerity. So now, in the 21st shloka, the Supreme Lord will ask Brahmaji, okay, please ask a benediction. So let's see. Varam varaya bhadrate varesham abhivachitam brahmanam shreya parishramah pumsa maddarshanavadhi. And we should actually see focus on even Krishna's words. He's saying, I wish you good luck. O Brahma, you may ask from me, uh, the giver of all benedictions, all that you may desire. you may know that the ultimate benediction as a result of all penances is to see me by realization. See, like the Lord is giving ultimate benediction is as a result of all, whatever you're doing, you're seeing me by your realizations. So, and it is hard work to see Krishna by realizations. But yes, he did that austerity, and Krishna is pleased with that austerity, and he's giving personal darshan to the Lord. And after giving darshan, he's telling, okay, please ask me a boon. What the Lord could have ideally speaking done is that he could have given darshan and he said, okay, fine. Okay, tata, bye bye. But no, the Supreme Lord is acknowledging his penances also. And when we are in a society of devotees, so we learn that how we should also acknowledge devotees. If they've done something little for us, that acknowledgement we are learning from the Supreme Lord, that he is acknowledging Brahma for his tapasya done. And we should also acknowledge devotees for whatever little contribution they're giving to the movement by giving the extended hand, maybe for 1 minute, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour, 1 week, 1 month, one lifetime. So we can acknowledge the devotees. Yeah, I want somebody to read this. Nakul Prabhu, please do the honors of reading the purport.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
The ultimate realization of the Supreme Truth is knowing and seeing face to face the personality of Godhead. The realization of the impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma features of the personality of Godhead is not ultimate realization. When one realizes the Supreme Lord, one does not struggle hard to perform such penances. The next stage of life is to discharge devotional service to the Lord just to satisfy Him. In other words, one who has realized and seen the Supreme Lord has attained all perfection because everything is included in that highest perfectional stage. The impersonalists and the pseudo mystics, however, cannot reach this stage. Hare
Yes.
Krishna.
So, what is that perfectional highest stage that you attain the mercy of the Supreme Lord? You're seeing Krishna face to face. Krishna is speaking with you face to face, and in fact, he's asking you, okay, ask a benediction from me. So then, so what is that highest benediction? More also, he's saying that it is so when you do that, when you do penances, then the Supreme Lord is giving you that benediction. That benediction will be the Lord is personally giving you his darshan. He is giving his darshan, not only his darshan, but he's giving the darshan of the abode also. And because of that severe, penance that he has done. So he's saying ahead that Mani sthitanubhavoyam mama lokavalokanam yad yadupashrutya rahasi chakartha param tapaha. Matangi Mataji, are you in a state to read the translation and purport both?
Yes, Mataji, I
Yeah.
can do this. Hare Krishna, Dandavasparam to all of you. Translation. The highest perfection in genuity is the personal perception of my abodes, and this has been possible because of your submissive attitude in the performance of severe penance according to my order. Purport. The highest perfection stage of life is to know the Lord by actual perception, by the grace of the Lord. This can be attained by everyone who is willing to discharge the act of devotional service to the Lord as enjoined in the revealed scriptures that are standard and accepted by the bona fide acharyas, spiritual masters. For example, the Bhagavad-gītā is the approved Vedic literature accepted by all the great acharyas such as Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhva, Chaitanya, Vishwanatha, Baladeva, Siddhanta, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and many others. In that Bhagavad-gītā, the personality of Godhead Śrī Krishna asks that one always be mindful of him, always be his devotee, always worship him only, and always bow down before the Lord. And by doing so, one is sure to go back home, back to Godhead without any doubt. In other places, also the same order is there, that one give up all other engagements and fully surrender unto the Lord without hesitation. And the Lord will give such a devotee all protection. These are the secrets of attaining the highest perfectional stage. Lord Brahma exactly followed these principles without any superiority complex, and thus he attained the highest perfectional stage of experiencing the abode of the Lord and the Lord himself with all his paraphernalia. Impersonal realization of the effulgence of the Lord's body is not the highest perfectional stage, nor is the stage of Paramatma realization. The word Manishita is significant. Everyone is falsely or factually proud learning. But the Lord says that the highest perfection stage of learning is to know Him and His abode, devoid of all illusion. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Ma'am. Thank you so much. So ahead he says that, the Supreme Lord says that, whatever penances you have done, or whatever penances any living entity does, that penance is my heart and soul. So Krishna is saying that, I am non-different from that penance. Penance I am, Krishna says that, And he says that because I am only creating, maintaining and destroying this material universe, and only by, whatever austerity or penance you do, and my power arises from this intense penance. So imagine the Supreme Lord's power also arises from it. So, pratyadishtam maya tatra tvai karma vimohite tapo me hridaya sakshadatmaha tapaso anagaha. So, we have Her Grace Sham Sundari Mataji. Sham Sundari Mataji attends my Hindi classes. Mataji, welcome. Please unmute yourself and read this translation and purport.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
O sinless Brahma, you may know from me that it was I who first ordered you to undergo penance when you were perplexed in your duty. Such penance is my heart and soul, and therefore penance and I are non-different. Purport. The penance by which one can see the personality of Godhead face to face is to be understood as devotional service to the Lord and nothing else, because only by discharging devotional service in transcendental love can one approach the Lord. Such penance is the internal potency of the Lord and is non-different from him. Such acts of internal potency are exhibited by non-attachment for material enjoyment. The living entities are encaged in the conditions of material bondage because of the propensity for overlordship. But by engagement in the devotional service of the Lord, one becomes detached from this enjoying spirit. The devotees automatically become detached from the worldly enjoyment, and this detachment is the result of perfect knowledge. Therefore, the penance of devotional service includes knowledge and detachment, and that is the manifestation of the transcendental potency. One cannot enjoy material illusory propensity if he desires to return home back to Godhead. One who has no information of the transcendental bliss in the association of the Lord foolishly desires to enjoy this temporary material happiness. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that if someone sincerely wants to see the Lord and at the same time wants to enjoy this material world, he is considered to be a fool only. One who wants to remain here in the material world for material enjoyment has no business entering into the eternal kingdom of God. The Lord favors such a foolish devotee by snatching all that he may possess in the material world. If such a foolish devotee of the Lord tries to recoup his position, then the merciful Lord again snatches away all that he may have possessed. By such repeated failures in the material prosperity, he becomes very unpopular with his family members and friends. In the material world, the family members and friends honor persons who are very successful in accumulating wealth by any means. The foolish devotee of the Lord is thus put into forcible penance by the grace of the Lord. And at the end, the devotee becomes perfectly happy, being engaged in the service of the Lord. Therefore, penance in the devotional service of the Lord, either by voluntary submission or by being forced by the Lord is necessary for attaining perfection, and thus such penance is the internal potency of the Lord. One cannot, however, be engaged in the penance of devotional service without being completely free from all sins. As stated in the Bhagavad-gītā, only a person who is completely free from all reactions of sins can engage himself in the worship of the Lord. Brahmaji was sinless, and therefore he faithfully discharged the advice of the Lord, tapa tapa, and the Lord, being satisfied with him, awarded him the desired result. Therefore, only love and penance combined can please the Lord, and thus one is able to attain his complete mercy. He directs the sinless, and the sinless devotee attains the highest perfection of life. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Such a powerful statement this is. Therefore, only love and penance combined can please the Lord. So you genuinely love the Supreme Lord. Just unalloyed. मतलब उसके अंदर कोई मिलावट नहीं होनी चाहिए. Like even that expectation of mercy from the Lord, that also expectation somebody should not have. That I will get something, that is why I'm doing something. That also should not be there. That okay, if I perform this, I will get this. Even to desire for something, that is, so that is why even if you see in the first canto, if you'll remember what we had seen in the case of Draupadi, where Draupadi is a chaste devotee of the Lord. And a chaste devotee of the Lord knows nothing other than Krishna. And when he is put into trials and tribulations, he will not even go to Krishna and ask to reduce that trial and tribulations. He will suffer that trial and tribulation, as I was mentioning in the afternoon also, that he will think, okay, this is my past karma, and he will tolerate. Then such people are, rightly, liable for Krishna's mercy. So that is why that love, that selfless love that is there, that is seen in Srimati Radharani, that is seen in, Mother Yashoda, the gopis, the gopas. In the spiritual world, you will see the selfless love. Over there, their aim of life is just to please Krishna. They don't have, their existence is only that very existence of their life is that minute to minute they are thinking, how can I please Krishna? What will I do? What activity will I do that will please Krishna? And then that penance is combined, that love is combined with the, that love and penance are there. So like, see, for us also, what is penance over here? Waking up early in the morning and chanting, and, since the Purushottam month is going on, so we chant some extra rounds. We take some vows of, following some celibacy. We take some more vows of, controlling our senses, like the tongue, the eyes, the ears, the nose, everything. Those, we actually take some vows. Now, in the Purushottam month, all these vows, these concessions or these discounts have been given so that the living entity will go more and more closer to Krishna. Now, this facility, who is giving? Krishna is only giving that facility to come closer to him. See, whereas if you see in an office or a, company, the boss will not give any facility, right? Okay, तुम्हें करना है काम करो, नहीं करना है मत करो. Like, okay, we are paying you, that's it. But over here, Krishna is such a reciprocative Supreme Lord that he is reciprocating. Okay, you're doing penance, and I give you more power to do penance. And then with that, you come to that point of, loving Krishna selflessly. So when somebody is doing penance, say for example, when we started with 2 rounds, right? Then we, moved to 4 and 6 and 8 and all, like, So Krishna is helping us, because why? We have taken some, like, a step towards Krishna. Krishna is taking 10 steps towards us. So that's how that reciprocal relation continues till you don't reach that position of unalloyed, love for the Supreme Lord. So Priyanka has a question. She says that, Mataji, even if asking or desiring Krishna for the selfless love and growth in devotional service for him is considered selfish, No, desiring for Krishna, that is our ultimate goal. We want to please him, we want to reach him, we want to reach him to serve him. And yes, we want to selflessly love him. And we want that, we want to grow in devotional life, means we want to go more closer to Krishna. Like from anartha nivritti to nishtha to ruchi to asakti to bhav to prema. That's still okay. That okay. And in that prayer also, you just have to say that Krishna, if you desire so, like His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj says that if you want to ask Krishna anytime something, then you say that Krishna, if you desire so. Why? Because he is the proprietor of this, material universe. So the proprietor will decide whether he wants to give or not give. That is completely his free will, whether he wants to give. So it's Krishna, if you desire so, let me chant, 8 rounds from tomorrow. If you desire so, let me chant, 64 rounds from tomorrow. If you desire, I want to. And then you say that, yes, I have this deep desire of, chanting 64 rounds. I have this deep desire of, having lunch or only dinner once, or having grains once a day. Then that is like still considered, yeah, like in the mode of goodness. You can say that you want to move ahead in Krishna consciousness. That's still fine. But on a more higher level, you don't even desire that. So that way. So, okay, fine. I just spent too much time on explaining this. Let's go ahead. So he says that Srijami tapasai veda grasami tapasa puna bibrami tapasa vishwam viryam me dushcharam tapaha. Okay. Vaishnavi, please read the translation and purport both.
Translation: I create this cosmos by such penance, I maintain it by the same energy, and I withdraw it all by the same energy. Therefore, the potency is penance only. Purport: in executing penance, one must be determined to return home back to Godhead and must decide to undergo all types of tribulations for that end. Even for material prosperity and name and fame, one has to undergo several types of penances. Otherwise, no one can become an important figure in this material world. Why then should there not be several types of penances for the perfection of devotional service? An easygoing life and attainment of perfection in transcendental realization cannot go together. The Lord is more clever than any living entity. Therefore, he wants to see how painstaking the devotee is in devotional service. The Lord is received from the Lord. The order is received from the Lord either directly or through the bona fide spiritual master, and to execute that order, however painstaking, is the several type of penance. One who follows the principle rigidly is sure to achieve success in attaining the Lord's mercy.
Yeah, thank you, Priyanka. Thank you, Vaishnavi. Thank you so much. So, there are some crucial points in this, that an easygoing life and attainment of perfection and realization go ill together. So, even for in material life also, if you just sit in your house, will there will be money pouring in your house? No. You have to toil hard from 9 to 5 or 9 to 8. And that's how money comes in your house. So, for even transcendental realization, then there is actually penance required. And because the Lord is more clever than the living entity, so he wants to see how painstaking the devotees in devotional service. So, what is that extra mileage that the devotee is covering uh, to like please the Supreme Lord? And whether the order is received from the Lord or through the spiritual master, uh, you know, uh, how much pain is he taking? Like, for example, Srila Prabhupada took so much pains just to execute that order of the spiritual master that, okay, you go and preach in the West. So for him, when the spiritual master gave that order, it's not like that immediately he took up his bags and he, went to USA. No. For that, it was a lifetime preparation. And if you see in Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit, there is a chapter which says that lifetime of preparation. So he did a lifetime of preparation. He was setting the ground for going to the West. And when he comes back to India with the Westerners, then how will the Indians adopt that? So for him, that whole preparation that was there was writing the Bhagavad-gītā, writing the Bhagavatam. Of course, the Bhagavad-gītā, his wife sold all those pages, but he wrote it again. So he went with the Bhagavatam. Imagine this very same Bhagavatam that we are reading, Srila Prabhupada went with that Bhagavatam, and on the basis of Harinam and Bhagavatam, he opened a big worldwide movement. Now, when you receive the order from the bona fide spiritual master, we should consider it as the order from the Supreme Lord itself. Why? Because the spiritual master is the manifestation of the Supreme Lord. So, if the Supreme, I beg your pardon. If the spiritual master says that go in the jungle and open up center over there, now because he's given the power, definitely in the jungle also you can open a center. But provided that we have that much faith in the words of the spiritual master. So, His Holiness Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj, when Prabhupada actually sent him to Bhubaneswar, what was there? There was only one, it was a barren land, and he himself is building a hut and he's staying. And today we have the whole Bhubaneswar temple and so many literatures His Holiness Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj has written, from the Odia text to the, he's translated, and even his disciples are actually taking the same pain. So somebody who is following these principles very, very, religiously or rigidly, then definitely he will have success. In the material world also, if somebody is toiling from, morning 9 to, evening 9, he also achieves success. Then if a devotee is actually taking pains for the Supreme Lord, why will he not get success? The Lord is not hard-hearted. He is a reciprocative Lord. You do even 1%, he is there to acknowledge you 10%. So that is his magnanimity, that he is known for reciprocating with his devotees. That is his special quality, that he reciprocates with his devotees. So yeah, so then further he says that so Brahma is not asking directly. Brahma is actually saying that, see, you are the Paramatma in everybody's heart, and you know who has done what endeavors, and you know their desires also. So Brahmaji is not asking any, at this point at least, he's not asking any benediction. So now Brahmaji starts speaking. Brahmo vacha Bhagwan sarvabhutanam adhyaksho avastito guham vedahi aparita ruddhena pragyanena chikirshitam. Anuprabhu, please read the translation and purport both.
Translation. Lord Brahma said, O personality of Godhead, you are situated in every living entity's heart as the supreme director, and therefore you are aware of all endeavors by your superior intelligence, without any hindrance whatsoever. Purport. The Bhagavad-gītā confirms that the Lord is situated in everyone's heart as a witness, and as such he is the supreme director of sanction. The director is not the enjoyer of the fruits of action, for without the Lord's sanction no one can enjoy. For example, in a prohibited area, a habituated drunkard puts forward his application to the director of drinking, and the director, considering his case, sanctions only a certain amount of liquor for drinking. Similarly, the whole material world is full of many drunkards, in the sense that each and every one of the living entities has something in his mind to enjoy, and everyone desires the fulfillment of his desires very strongly. The Almighty Lord, being very kind to the living entity, as a father is kind to the son, fulfills the living entity's desire for his childish satisfaction. With such desires in mind, the living entity does not actually enjoy, but he serves the bodily whims unnecessarily without profit. The drunkard does not derive any profit out of drinking, but because he has become a servant of the drinking habit and does not wish to get out of it, the merciful Lord gives him all facilities to fulfill such desires. The impersonalists recommend that one should become desireless, and others recommend banishing desires altogether. That is impossible. No one can banish desires altogether because desiring is a living symptom. Without having desires, a living entity would be dead, which he is not. Therefore, living conditions and desire go together. Perfection of desires may be achieved when one desires to serve the Lord, and the Lord also desires that every living entity banish all personal desires and cooperate with his desires. That is the last instruction of the Bhagavad-gītā. Brahmaji agreed to this proposal, and therefore he is given the responsible post of creating generations in the vacant universe. Oneness with the Lord therefore consists of dovetailing one's desires with the desires of the Supreme Lord. That makes for the perfection of all desires. The Lord is the super soul in the heart of every living being, knows what is in the mind of each living entity, and no one can do anything without the knowledge of the Lord within. By his superior intelligence, the Lord gives everyone the chance to fulfill his desires to the fullest extent, and the resultant reaction is also awarded by the Lord. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So now ahead, from the 26th shloka up to the 30th shloka. These are very crucial and important shlokas. And these shlokas are actually called the Chatushloki. These, Brahmaji is actually questioning, which will actually bring up the Chatushloki, Bhagavatam. So Brahmaji will ask, some questions to the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord will subsequently answer those. But I feel that because this is a very, very important section of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, I mean, they say that this is the heart of, when you say Chatushloki Bhagavad-gītā, then you have Chatushloki Bhagavatam also. And these are some of those shlokas which, because of course, Chatushloki are even further explained in the Parampara also. It's Narada is inquiring Brahma, and Brahma is also actually giving answers as such. But I feel that this needs to be covered tomorrow, because these 4 questions and 4 answers, 4 questions Brahmaji is asking, and 4 answers the Supreme Lord is giving. And I feel that it's very important that we give sufficient amount of time and maybe some justice also to these shlokas and the work of Srila Prabhupada, because I have a very in-depth explanation for these shlokas. I mean, every verse is a golden verse, you can say. So, if anybody has any questions, doubts, queries, I rest my speech over here. You're free to ask me. Oh, everybody's understood everything, okay. Sushil Prabhu, how is your health, Prabhu? Sushil Prabhu was in hearing mode.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah, Prabhuji, your voice seems very grave. It means it's not really good, Prabhu, hai na?
Nice. Can't help it, Mataji.
You're taking some medicine, Prabhu, gargling and all?
Currently, I'm doing some home remedies that Dadi ji ka, Nani ji ka, totka type, those things,
Yes, yes, yes. But I think some
I'll-
medicine is equally required, Prabhu.
Tomorrow I'll consult Mataji and doctor. They'll give antibiotics, that's all.
Yeah.
I'll go tomorrow, Mataji.
Yeah. I think there is a medicine called Moxikind 625, and there's another medicine called Roxit 150 mg. These are very good for the throat, because I really have big time problem with my throat because of too much of speaking. So then I have to take these medicines and I go on antibiotics straight then. So I wanted to know something about Sham Sundari Mataji also. Mataji, where are you from? And please introduce yourself.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All the devotees in the group, please accept my obeisances. My pranam to all of you. I am basically from Tamil Nadu, and presently I am at Moscow, Russia. And this group I got to know from my son Vignesh.
He's I think on a summer camp somewhere, right? He's on a retreat.
Yes. He and his friend Vishal, they have gone for camp. His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj is in Russia, so he has gone there for the camp. He will be returning day after tomorrow.
No wonders. I was just thinking that this child is such a blessed. So now I know that the roots are so strong. The mother is so strong in devotional service. So the son is also equally strong in devotional service. So much nice, Mataji. Please welcome to this group and joining to this group. And we are blessed to have devotees like you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. No, nothing, Mataji. I'm really happy that he got your association. And I joined the Hindi group because it is from the beginning. I have started reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam on my own many times, but it was very difficult for me to understand.
Yes.
So this group, by reading in the group, it's so much good, and you're giving such explanations. It is so much easier now.
Actually, I have nothing to say, Mataji, but what happens when you're in a group, all these things automatically come. I don't prepare for my classes at all. I just give them something randomly. I give whatever I must have heard. But as Prabhupada used to say, that you can understand Bhagavatam only in the association of devotees. Alone you can also, even I started this Bhagavatam study circle only for my own betterment, that I will have that habit of reading, and while reading, I'll not sleep. I'll be alert. Otherwise, many times I also used to go to sleep only while reading the Bhagavatam. So all these, whatever I'm speaking is coming by the power of this association that I'm actually taking from every devotee over here. Otherwise, what can, a dumb person like me can speak something? Only the power of all the devotees combined is allowing me to speak something about the Supreme Lord and glorifying Him. So we have Lakshmi Narayan Prabhu also, we have Sushil Prabhu also. They had done IDC with me, and even Vignesh has done IDC course with me. So we have all IDCs in the English batch.
Mataji, anyone comes under you for training, they'll not leave you. Hare Krishna.
There are many better devotees than me who have thousands of followers for sure, and they're much better than me for sure. But yeah, I'm trying in my own way how to actually just uplift myself and the devotees also. And we have Nakul Prabhu also. Nakul Prabhu, please introduce yourself, Prabhu. Maybe you can switch on your video if you're comfortable, and we can have your darshan. Today, the Lord gave Brahmaji darshan, so you please give us your darshan. Nakul Prabhu, or he's not there? Nakul Prabhu, you're there? Oh, he's not there. And we have Anup Prabhu also. Anup Prabhu is also from... Prabhuji, please introduce yourself, because we have 2-3 new people on the group. So You just be familiar with each other.
Anup Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. I'm from South Africa, Ladysmith, and I also joined the group through a common WhatsApp group, and for some, I've always been here for some time, and I'm blessed to have Mataji's darshan and understandings when she gives a Bhagavatam class.
Prabhuji, from which WhatsApp group you joined in?
There was another Durban devotee group crisis, and I think someone forwarded this link, and that's how I eventually came to know. I'm not sure who but he came to the devotee crisis.
Done, yes.
That
He
time was
had done my, he had done the IDC course with me, yes. And he was in the same batch which Lakshminarayan Prabhu were there in that same batch. So I think from there, he must be there. Like, yeah. So Anup Prabhu is also very serious in the class. He regularly attends the class like Lakshminarayan Prabhu and Sushil Prabhu. So Sushil Prabhu is also there with us in hearing mode. So he is also very enthusiastic. So Lakshminarayan Prabhu, Sushil Prabhu, they are staying in down south. So I think Lakshminarayan Prabhu, even you are a South Indian?
Yes, Mataji, in Hyderabad, we are in Hyderabad.
Hyderabad. So you are Telugu or Tamil?
Telugu, Mataji.
And Shyam Sundari Mataji is?
I'm Tamil.
Tamil. Okay. Our temple is also Tamil.
Okay. Mhm.
Shyam Prabhu, yeah, he's also Tamil.
Yes. What is his name again, Mataji?
His Grace Radhesham Prabhu.
Radhesham Prabhu, amazing. Yes. Okay.
And we have Vrinda also from Hyderabad. Vrinda, you are from Hyderabad or Bangalore?
No, like I reside in Hyderabad, but then my native is Odisha.
Okay, she is from Odisha. Okay. I thought that you might be one of the Telugu or Tamils. So we have, people from all walks. Vrinda is from Odisha, Priyanka is from Indore, and Lakshminarayan Prabhu is from Hyderabad again. Sushil Prabhu is also residing in Hyderabad, but I think Sushil Prabhu is originally from UP, Uttar Pradesh.
No, Mataji, I am a Bengali.
Oh, you're a Bengali, Prabhupada's family member. Okay, so we have people, and I am a Gujarati, so all we have got people from all sides of India. Nice. So
Mataji, I just want to tell something. Actually, I joined, although English, I'm more comfortable with English, but I joined the Hindi session because that timing is suitable for me. So sometimes, so I will regularly come for the Hindi. I will try to regularly come for the Hindi class, but sometimes I will join this class also. Hope it is okay.
Yes, Mataji. Your attendance is not compulsory. Everything is on free will. Whenever you all want to join in, because this is completely a matter of interest and availability of time and all, like Mataji. So whenever you're free, definitely most welcome to join in the class, Mataji.
Thank you.
So dear devotees, thank you for your association and thank you for this wonderful small sweet family that we are having for this English class. So we'll continue tomorrow, Prabhu. Yeah. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, Jai Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki Jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Very learned.
Dhanavad.